So, Patty,
Yes, dear.
we're not on the air or anything. Tell me what you really think about minorities.
Dan, I thought we were friends. I thought you had my best interest.
That was a mistake, as it turns out.
Pre-game.
That's true. Pre-game. I
Pre-game.
love pre-game. It's my favorite part of the game. I put my name up. There you go.
I
Cool.
got it.
Hey, you want to see something cool?
Oh, wait. Oh, you need a little more lights on. You're too dark.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I
What you got? What you got?
guess I could turn the lights on.
Yeah.
Do you mind, Michael?
No, I'm good.
I work like in the dark all day.
He's like sorry.
Are you
Yeah,
gonna,
right?
are you
It's
gonna
very
introduce?
office-y light. But it looks nice on the Hangout.
It does.
So I got this cool thing. It's a tripod, right?
Excellent.
That's not the cool part, though. The cool part is this thing on top.
Yes. Yeah, I see.
That's for? So I can shoot HD video on a tripod with my iPhone. And then I got this thing, which you plug into the thing, and it allows you to plug like a real microphone and do the sound.
Oh.
I'm gonna set up like a little HD video studio with just my iPhone. This stuff all together costs like $30,
Wow.
right?
So the thing on top, is that like an external piece that you can just add to another tripod?
Yeah, it goes on any tripod,
Grabby thing? Cool.
and it's it's cool.
Will it fit an iPad? Does it get big?
I think that company has one for iPads. I don't think that one does iPads.
Okay. Very cool. I love the new toys. I don't have any new toys.
No?
I have an orchid, Dan, that I haven't killed yet. Can you see?
Oh, it's very pretty.
It's my orchid.
Does it know that its days are numbered?
No. No, it's from IKEA. So its name is like Sven.
Ben the orchid.
Ben
And it doesn't know jack squat.
Yeah, it's not very smart.
We should open every episode just by like, what's cool in our lives.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's cool in my life that I'm getting back into for the first time in a long time is chess. I decided to up my chess game.
Oh, I love chess.
So I bought a little board. I set it up over there.
Yeah.
I'm going to play through some Grandmaster games, and I'm going to work my way through a couple books that I've had for like a long time. And this all came about because I was looking through my book collection. I got rid of a lot of books recently because it's like they take up so much space, and I love books, but so I got rid of a bunch of stuff I didn't really care about, and I think I accidentally got rid of a book that I really cared about, which was my dad's copy of Bobby Fischer Teaches Chess. So the first book I read.
Oh, no.
You know, my dad owned it, blah, 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 blah. And now my dad is dead, so whatever.
What?
So anyway, so I was like, that sucks. I got rid of that book. It kind of blows. So I ordered another copy, and I was like, I'm going to get way into chess. So we'll see how long that lasts. I have hovered at the novice level for like 20 years.
Yeah.
So I can consistently beat the only person I ever played chess, which is my friend Steven, who I have methodically demolished as a human being since college. Non-stop chess. I mean, we played every day in college when we were both in Japan together. So we played every day in Japan, and then we started playing over the phone when iPhones came out and stuff. And we played pretty much every day for like 10 years. And I think I win like 90% of those games.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think I'm pretty good at chess. And then last night I was like, I'll just get like an app that'll play me.
Yeah.
It just wiped me with like the 4-year-old setting. It's like, look, randomly touching the pieces, and I'm like falling apart. And I'm like, no.
Well, I have to say, a couple years ago, I signed my daughters up for a chess class at school. Because I'm like, I'm trying to make them as unpopular as I possibly can.
Because I want them to learn how to fight, but they didn't see the point, so I thought I would give them a reason.
Right. But anyway, yeah. So she didn't take to it entirely, but at least we can all play, you know?
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
a
I
little
like it.
bit goes a long way.
Right.
Chess knowledge, because most people don't know anything about chess. So it's like just kind of you learn a couple tactics or whatever, and you seem like a wizard.
Yeah, well, and there's a different level, like what you're talking about. I've had friends that do that, where they play master games. You know, they just kind of move the pieces around and look at the different plays and stuff, which I think is so super nerdy. I love that about you, my friend.
That's what this book is all about. It shows you like every move, and it tells you why they did it or whatever.
Yeah, I love it.
Um,
So speaking of analysis.
Well, let's talk about beers. So first of all, I'll start it off.
Okay.
I gotta pull up your.
Oh, are we doing beer for beer here?
Well, I gotta do the beginning.
Oh, that. Oh, goodness. Oh, where you mock me? Right. Okay.
Okay.
Bring it up.
All right. I'm trying to find a good one.
Okay.
That one is so bad. All right, I'm going with that one. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's SEO and IPAs. It's the fun weekly hangout about entrepreneurship, online marketing, and more for cool people of all shapes, stripes, and colors. As always, I'm Daniel Baird here from Two Friendly Nerds. That is TWO, friendlynerds.com, the world's friendliest web design and online marketing company. And with me, as always, is the brains behind the operation, officially the only reason anyone ever watches this show, the proud owner of a new business combining both ice skating and SEO called Rank Rink. It is Patti DeLessio from reinventinteractive.com. That is reinventinteractive.com or rankrink.edu. Patti, how are you today, my wonderful friend?
I'm terrific. I have an EDU. Excellent.
Yeah. I love saying random websites and then being like .org.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, Rank Rink was taken. All right, let me click that one off the Rank Rink. I think Rank Rink was. I'm getting to the point where I thought of like all of these in one afternoon. So I'm coming to the point where I'm like, I have to start thinking of some new material.
Oh my God, that's funny. Anyway, cheers, my friends. Cheers.
Cheers. Well, let's talk about beer because we were pre-gaming it.
Yep.
Let's talk about beers. It is end of the pumpkin beer season.
So we're going one more because
For most people.
we're being non-season out of season.
Yeah, but I still love the pumpkin beer in the holidays. So what do you got for us? What do you got for us?
I'm doing a repeat. Because I'm closing out the season with my favorite. So this is, what's my favorite pumpkin beer?
Post Road.
Yes.
Hey!
Post Road. Post Road is by Brooklyn Brewery. I like it. I think it has, a really lovely pumpkin flavor.
Yep.
Pumpkin spice flavor, right? It's beautiful. It's got great color. Hold on, where are we? Right?
Yeah.
Got all the spice that you want. It goes fantastic with Indian food. I say that all the time.
Yeah.
And it's my favorite. So I'm closing out the pumpkin beer season with my favorite. I have a few left. And I'm sticking with it, Dan. I'm sticking with it. What pumpkin beer do you have, my friend?
I have, this beer was actually, my roommate just ducked out to get a coffee. But this was actually, he gave this to me. It's his favorite pumpkin beer because I told him about the show, and he was like, and I actually wasn't able to find it. I went out to go buy it, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So this is Two Roads.
Oh.
Rosemary's Baby.
Oh.
First of all, an incredible name.
Yeah.
Because the company is Two Roads. Rosemary's Baby. The label is awesome.
Didn't you have this once before? I'm going back to the tapes.
I don't think so. I don't think I've ever had this. I think I talked about it because he lent it to me.
Very good.
But let's see what it says. Ale brewed with pumpkin and spices, aged in rum barrels with vanilla beans.
Oof. Yummy.
Yeah, it smells, I don't know.
I think I recognize this name. Do they have another?
Two Roads?
Yeah, there's another beer that you have.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
They're all puns, right?
They are from Connecticut, Stratford, Connecticut.
Okay.
So this is...
Is it bourbony? Can you taste it?
Maybe a little bit. It's
What's the alcohol?
6.8. So
Okay.
it's interesting because this is the thing I'm noticing most is really weird. It's the carbonation.
Okay.
It's very fizzy, but it's nice. It's a little sweet for
Yeah.
my taste, but nowhere near as sweet as the ones that I had before where I couldn't even get it down.
Right, right.
You do kind of get the vanilla in the back, and it's got those spices there, although it's very light
Uh-huh.
on the tongue, you know. So it's very pleasant. It's kind of almost like, I don't want to say it tastes like a soda because that'll give you the wrong idea, but it's kind of like that. Like I feel like I would drink this fast,
Okay.
if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But I like it. I don't think it's my favorite of all time, but it's quite good. And the label alone,
Yeah, the name.
I would probably put it in a pick your own 6 for the
Right.
label alone.
Well,
Good.
I like the name. I like the name, and I have to say, probably next week I'm gonna choose this beer that I just discovered that I love, love, love. And you reminded me, speaking of carbonation, this beer happens to have a pretty high carbonation, and every time I pour it, I'm the head's running over the top of it. It's just crazy. But it's called Tank 7 Farmhouse Ale. You ever heard of this?
I haven't. But a farmhouse is a saison. Are those the same thing?
Yeah, exactly. Nice.
Right?
It is very good. And anyway, I just looked up the score on this, and I've been drinking it pretty much exclusively for about a week and a half now, and I found it over the weekend and had
No
it.
water, no juice, no coffee. Exclusively this beer.
Just this. Yeah, so it's called Tank 7. It's phenomenal. And I just looked up the score. The Beer Advocate score is a 93, and the Bros is a 95. Like, it's like a really amazeballs beer. Like, it's just phenomenal. Like, really good. Like, it's one of the first, I've gotten real excited about this for the first time in a while, about a new beer. So there's that. I'll break out with it next week.
Cool. That sounds awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, and I don't really know. I'm out of beer at home. I
Okay.
finished drinking. I had a 6-pack of those winter shredders.
Okay.
Really enjoyed, and I've just kind of been drinking those, and I'm out of beer, and I'm kind of like, do I want to switch to it's like Christmas? Am I going to start drinking like Frangelico and Bailey's every night? It's like that kind of year where I'm like, yeah, I like bourbon,
Sure. Yeah.
eggnog, so it's like, but I want a good, solid beer in there. So anyway, I got to find something good is what I'm saying.
Well, we have to go into the Christmas beers next, so that's your
Yeah.
assignment for next week.
Yeah, all right. I'll go look for some stuff.
All right.
So let's talk about this week's article. So
Yeah.
I will share this over for our Google folks,
Okay.
so they'll see that being displayed on the thing. But of course, if you're watching this live
Mm-hmm.
and you have a question that you want us to answer, you can ask this question right on the Google Plus page in the comments, and we will get your question. We will answer it on the air. Please feel free to do that. That would be fun. So this week we wanted to talk about analytics. And analytics, I get it. It's a little boring. It's a little, it's for people that are so detail-oriented, and it's more like analytics. Am I right?
Yeah.
You're right. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Analytics can be pretty boring, but really good analytics setup can go a long way to helping you figure out what you need to do in your business, what you need to fix, and how to improve. And one of my big marketing New Year's resolutions, although we're not quite there yet, but the next thing for the next year is to really use my own analytics really well, because I use them for clients, but not a whole lot for myself, and I don't get a whole lot of actionable insights. So the article I chose for today was an article about something called the Trinity Strategy. It was put out by this guy, Avinash Kaushik.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure I'm pronouncing his name wrong.
Yeah.
But I'll share the article up in the stream. Avinash Kaushik. But if you get a chance to read this blog, Occam's Razor, it is mind blowing. And I don't say this very often, but he is ridiculous with this stuff. It's original, it's deep thinking, incredibly great blog. This is one of the blogs that all the thought leaders and stuff, this is what they read.
Yeah.
So I highly suggest it. And going through this is one of his kind of core ideas, is this Trinity mindset and strategic approach. And we don't have to necessarily specifically deal with this. It's kind of a jumping off point to talk about analytics. But what I wanted to talk about was this idea of getting actionable insights out of analytics. Because I think for most people, what do? You set up Google Analytics when you start your website, you pop it in there, and then you never look at it again. And so it's about setting up some sort of system that actually tells you what you should do, or what you should be doing with your time, or what you can do to improve things, and how to do that. So that's the kind of general topic for today. We can walk through the kind of Trinity approach in specific, or Patti, I can kind of toss it out to you and say, like, how do you use analytics? I mean, first of all, do you use it for yourself in your own business, and then for your clients, how do you translate pretty graphs and numbers into actual stuff to do?
Yeah. Well, of course I use it. I use it especially.
Of course.
Of course.
And you did this thing. You're like, of course. All right.
But yeah, so I find that a lot of people don't have analytics set up correctly. A lot of times they're not tracking goals and goals that matter, or there's issues with the site such that goal tracking is a challenge. But yeah, so I mean, everything I do is based on analytics. All of my monthly reporting, all of my ROI, all of all the data. It's all from analytics. So I'm there all the time, in analytics all the time, and I'm sure you are too. I run reports through some Raven tools. I've got some new fancy reports from them, but mostly I'm checking that, and I'd love to dive into what matters. Kind of what numbers to look at, how to interpret those numbers. What are the measurement data, right? Because everyone is always asking, what do I look? I've got it. I don't know what to look at. I don't know what it means, and some of it can be really deceiving too. So I think this is a great topic.
Yeah, I like the thing, and we'll talk a little bit about what's in the article, and then kind of specifically about the thing. But I think the key thing that I liked about this guy's approach, and it's really, you pointed out it was written in 2006. It's actually a really old article.
Yeah.
But he's spoken at Google about these things and stuff. And the thing is, like, it's not so much about anything specific. It's like a mindset and a way of looking at data, right?
Yeah.
It divides web analytics into three basic pieces, which is the Trinity of the Trinity approach, right? And he talks about behavior, outcomes, and experience.
That's right.
Behavior is like one bucket of data that you look at, and it's basically clickstream data, which is like, what did you click on? What's your heat map? Like, what are people actually doing? And the reason you look at that is because you're trying to figure out people's intent. Like, if someone keeps clicking on your about page, like, what are they trying to do? You're trying to get a sense when you look at that stuff of like what people want and why they are behaving the way they're behaving. Then there's another bucket that's called outcomes, which is like the effect that those things have on your business, and that's where you look at like conversion rates and income and profit, and obviously that's really important too, and you need to understand, like, okay, how are the things that they do connected with the outcomes, right? So for example, he uses the example of someone buying a software package, and there's a basic and a premium. Well, you might find that many people who click on this one page tend to purchase the premium, right? So you're coming from the behavior bucket to the purchase, which is in the outcomes bucket. And he says, like, for an example, like that outcome might be very valuable. It will make more money if you get the premier version rather than the basic version. But the third bucket is experience, which is the experience that user has while they're going through that process. And he's talking about doing surveys and, just kind of user testing and like real user experience and stuff like that.
Right.
He actually says that that's the most overlooked part, but also the most important part, because to take the example again of the basic and the premier package of the of the software package, right? I might make more money if you buy the Premier package. And so the gut reaction is to say, like, how do we get people to buy more Premier packages?
Right.
If the user experience is like they get overwhelmed and it's way too much software for them and they drop out and they never end up using it, that means that long term you're going to make less money, right? So he talks about this sort of circle, how it goes back and forth, and how behavior affects outcomes, which affects experience, which affects behavior, and it's a cycle, right? And I think the thing that's cool about this is it's a mindset for looking at data and understanding how to react to data.
Right.
Whereas analytics, like we've talked about analytics on the show before and talked about like what you look at. Yeah. But in the end, what you look at is just a thing. And it doesn't tell you what to do. And it doesn't tell you how to understand the data and how the data kind of relates both to itself and to your business as a whole. So I just thought that was a really well put, doable approach for most people, right? It gives you a limited number of variables, a limited number of sort of areas for those variables, and a limited number of things to do out of that. You're either trying to encourage behavior, improving your outcomes, or improving the experience, right?
Yeah, and I think just to add to that, what's at the center of each of those three things is the customer or the visitor, right? It's not, it's not what I want them to do. It's reading the data. I mean, it is what I want them to do, but it's reading the data to interpret the behavior, what the outcomes are, comparing that to the outcomes that I want, and then also mapping the experience to meet those.
Right. So he talks about win-win outcomes.
Yeah, right.
The goal is a win-win outcome where you get what you want and I get what I want. Not we extract the most value out of you. And he points out too, he even says, if I only had one metric to look at, it wouldn't be clicks and it wouldn't be links, it would be the experience data like the surveys, which is like they have a great experience, all that other stuff is going to take care of itself. Right, to a certain extent. Yeah. So, and it's interesting because I don't do, it made me think about it because I was like, I don't do anything like that. I don't really do any qualitative, like of my clients. Like, I mean, I give them a little quiz at the end of not a quiz, but a survey at the end of a project that says, scale 1 to 5, how fast were we, how good were we, how polite were we, would you refer us? And that's, to try to get a sense of like what people experience. But it made me kind of think like, okay, I set up everything that we go through in our business about what I need to move a project forward, right? But I don't actually know what it's like to be on the other side, kind of.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought it was interesting. Yeah, I don't know. What did you think?
I like this. I mean, I subscribed fully to the points here. I took some notes, so that's what I'm looking at here. I like. Starting with behavior, I liked the concept of the intent of the site visitor, and I would have liked him to show a little bit more examples of this. You know what I mean? Like how to extract page view data and show, or well, actually, 8 years ago when this was written, you didn't even have those like goal funnels and those. So some of this is a lot easier, and for all we know, they based it off of this. But some of the stuff that you can kind of see more clearly now, right? You know what I mean? Like what click-through paths people took to a particular goal or endpoint. But anyway, I think that's really, really interesting. I think measuring these outcomes is interesting, and what this made me think is I've been setting up goals. Additional goals besides the obvious goals. So, outside of did someone purchase or sign up or submit a contact form, like besides those typical calls to action, I'll choose a couple pages that I really want to track if they visit it, mark that as a goal, and a lot of times I'll do either the about page or the contact page. I mean, you can get that data other ways, but I like to see how many people land on that contact page as sort of a goal, just as and it kind of falls under that kind of outcome behavior idea. Like I want to see which sites or referral sites are sending folks to those pages, because I think that shows interest. At least in my clients in some of these examples, right? If someone gets to the website and they're doing whatever they're doing, but if they make it to that about page, that's a little bit more detail. There's something about that that matters a little bit more than any other page, and the contact page. But that's one thing that I track that maybe isn't obvious to everybody.
We were talking about this a little bit before the show, before we started, but it's talking like the difference between a macro and a micro conversion, right? And this like I've been getting into that thinking a lot because I've been investing a lot of time in AdWords and in buying traffic, and of course when you're buying traffic, the relationship to money in versus results out is very clear, right? So you start to get into like, okay, obviously conversion is great. That's a conversion. They signed up for our thing. They bought. Like, that's a no-brainer, right? But to a certain extent, if you think like, all right, many conversions happen after the fact. So maybe I click on an ad and I get to see you, and then I like your Facebook page, and then I leave, and then it takes me 6 months, and then I come back, and then I buy.
Yeah.
That Facebook like, or the amount of time spent on that site or whatever, is a micro conversion that itself has a certain value, right? And so if you only look at the top level of the conversions, you're missing the value underneath. And that might be the difference between saying this campaign is break even or this campaign is profitable, right? So it's interesting because thinking about that has caused me to kind of go back, and I'm kind of redoing some stuff on my own site, redoing my own kind of conversion funnel and the stuff that I use to market to clients, and segmenting it much more and all this stuff, or actually simplifying it fairly significantly, but really finally trying to understand, okay, I'm only going to have 2 funnels, and they're very like straight ahead, but I want to know like everything I do, like what is the effect on this or that, and I found that like largely what's been happening with me now is I have too much going on. Yeah. To really get a whole lot of usable data from the things that I have set up now. So it's just it's been kind of an interesting process for me. So do you don't do any of this for yourself, right? Because you don't really tend to get clients on the web, ironically enough. I mean, I say that too about myself. Like I get most of my clients for referral.
Yeah, I do. I get them a lot from referral or from speaking engagements. That's primarily where it comes from. I've got on the schedule to redo a website next year, so we'll see kind of how that goes. And and you and I have been talking about doing an SEO and IPA website, so there's a lot to do. But yeah, no, I have a site. I have a site.
Yeah, but no.
No, but I, again, it's, we were talking in the pregame about the cobbler shoes, right? So I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this, I'm up to my waist in everybody else's analytics.
The saying is that the cobbler's children wear no shoes.
Or something is right.
That the cobbler's shoes are.
Yeah, right. Kettle black. I don't know.
Shoes. Must be a crappy cobbler. And he like turns around like a twinkle in his eye, and he's like, "Or am I the best cobbler?" That's what I look for.
You're terrible.
Service providers. I look for people that have no experience doing their thing for themselves.
Right. Yeah. Thanks.
Well,
Thanks a lot, Dan. Thanks a lot, Dan.
Well, no, I'm not talking about you. I was just talking more about me. But actually, it's one of the reasons I started focusing on AdWords for my own business.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to do more AdWords consulting in the future. And I'm like, clearly, I got to do it for myself first, right, before I do it for someone else. And it's been very interesting because my market is kind of a crappy one for AdWords. It's like kind of a difficult. It's really high cost per click for fairly high competition, low search volumes. So I've had to be very strategic about what I do, and in that process, I'm taking out a lot of stuff that I can then say like, oh, okay, I can use this for my clients. I can use that for my clients, whatever. So it is an interesting thing, but SEO is one of those things where it's so.
Yeah. So I think the big thing with analytics is to make sure that you have it. If there's clients I have, they're like, oh, I don't know if I have it on.
The main way to improve your analytics, first of all, do you have it? That's like saying, okay, let's fix your computer. Number one, is it on?
Yeah, is it plugged into the wall? Yeah. You know what? But I'm not kidding. Like, it's free. right? Let's all remind ourselves it's free. It's by Google. So there's no reason to not have it on. There's a lot of really great tutorials on how to get it on there, right?
Right.
And once you start tracking data, that history is really, really important, right? You want to track where, spikes in either direction are happening. Some of my favorite numbers or the data that I tell people to look at. Do you want to talk about that, Dan?
Sure. Yeah, we got a couple of minutes.
Yeah. I think the percentage of new visitors can't be underestimated. The
Why?
number of, say it again?
Why do you care about that?
I care about that. I think that's a real benchmark. As an SEO, I care about who's coming to your site that's never been there before. I think the percentage of new visitors, or what they call percent new sessions now, is a critical data point to look at over time.
You want to drive that up.
Oh, you want to drive it up. You want it to, depending on the business, obviously, but there's value in loyalty and brand loyalty, and then there's because if you've got a very popular blog, your new sessions, your new visitors, may not be as high. It's you're building loyalty. People are coming back over time. But if you're selling something, if you've got products or services that you're selling, I think percentage of new sessions is a very important statistic to look at. I think average site duration is not as important as page views. I think that can be kind of skewed. It's not a really good data point. I'll put that out there.
Okay. Like time on site. That's what
Yeah. It used to be called time on site. Now it's like average session duration. They changed this a couple months ago. But yeah, I think pages per session is a better data point. Page views, is also a really good data point. Bounce rate is also very important. But average session duration is a little bit skewed. I think you don't really know what that time on site has been, right? And even Google admits it's a less exact.
I mean, if you're like me, you've got 42 tabs open. You know what I mean? And it's like,
you open it up, you click to another page, right? You go to lunch. I don't know. I just think it's a little bit of a silly, unless you've got a ton of visits to kind of skew that more correct. It's a wonky data point.
Yeah.
I like mobile data points too. I like to see how many folks are looking at the site from mobile, just as interesting. You know what I mean? If you've got a lot more on mobile, then you want to pay attention to how that looks, right? What that design is like, even tablets and such. So that's worth looking at. I mean, not a month after month or week after week looking, but it's good to know how people are viewing your website. What do you have? What do you like?
I mean, I tend to, right now I focus largely on referrers.
Yes.
And that's primarily because my big kind of growth area is link building.
Yeah.
And so typically what I'll do is kind of go back, find where my referrals are coming from, or find where my referrals are coming from, and then try to capitalize on that in some way. So if I'm getting a lot of, from a specific venue or whatever, I try to find what's working so I can do more of that, right? The other thing I tend to do a fair amount of is, obviously you look at your overall traffic numbers every time. You try to make sure that they're ticking up, right? But then the thing that I have been looking at a lot is my Webmaster Tools reports for query ranks, right? So I'm looking at what queries are pulling up the site, where I'm ranking for those, and what the click-through rate is. And so I'm looking for places where I'm getting pulled up a lot, but I have it's like, so I'm ranking for something that I'm not really trying to rank for or whatever. I'm getting pulled up from, but there's room for improvement, right? So a lot of times I'll then go back and say, like, all right, let's build a page that's optimized for that content, right? So I've been doing that, but like I said, I haven't been super focused on it. So for my own stuff, that's kind of where it's at. And for clients, my clients, when they do SEO, tend to have a lot of data and be very content marketing driven, so it's a lot of like off-site research and stuff like that. And again, watching that referral data, So it's something that I want to be better at. You know what I mean? That's like a growth area for me. And again, I think that the article that we shared today is really interesting because it's all about taking what is kind of a messy mass of data that you can look at in a lot of different ways and turning it into actual actionable insights, which is, of course, the goal. We got to go. My son's got a doctor's appointment in a little while. I got to get ready to go to that. So
Very good.
thank you guys so much for watching. As always, we really appreciate it. If you tuned in halfway through and you want to catch the rest of this episode or you want to catch any of our past episodes, you can go to twofriendlynerds.com/hangout. That is twofriendlynerds.com/hangout. Or just go on the YouTube and type in SEO and IPA, and you'll find all our past episodes. Patti, you are super awesome, as always. Thank you for your help. You are the best.
Thank you.
And the rest, what's that?
Huh?
Oh, I thought you were saying something.
Oh, I just said thank you.
Oh. And then, of course, the rest of you guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week, Wednesday, noon Eastern Standard Time, same bad time, same bad channel. As always, Patti, optimize responsibly. I say it, then you say it. So it's like optimize responsibly, optimize responsibly.
Okay.
Let's try this. Patti, as always, please optimize responsibly.
Optimize responsibly.
Very nice-ish. That's good. That's good. We're getting there. Guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next week, and thanks a lot.